Yeah, guys, today we are going to do an IPsec lab. For IPsec lab, this is our topology where we need two firewalls here, and also for verification we need two Windows machine. You should connect the topology like this. And if you want to add any intermediate devices, you can also add like switch or router in between firewall and Windows machine on both sides. Okay, so the basic topology look like this, where we are connecting our firewall 1 to the firewall 2. So let's suppose this, take this site, this is a site 1 and this is a site 2 where you are maintaining the firewalls. Okay, so here the firewall 1 is connected to firewall 2, which is in on their side through an interface Ethernet 1/3. And here in this case I have directly connected, but in the real time scenario how it will like, it will be going through the internet. Okay, in the lab we are directly connecting, but in the real time it will be going through the internet through ISPs. Okay, it will be connecting to its nearby ISP, and the ISP provide your network path, and it will be routed through the internet. And here the site 2 also connected to any one of the ISP, so that ISP will provide connection to your site on the other end. So the connection will be look like that in the real time, but in the lab I have directly connected to Ethernet 1/3 using Ethernet 1/3 to easily understand. Okay, so here we took two Windows machines for the verification part. Okay, we need to send a traffic through the IPsec tunnel, right? We need to see whether the traffic is flowing through the IPsec tunnel or not. Okay, so this is our topology. And before proceeding to the configuration, I will show you, I will let you know what are the things that we need to configure. I will list here what are the things that we need to configure. The first thing we need to do is, and we need to configure an tunnel interface. Okay, tunnel interface. Why we need tunnel interface means all our IPsec tunnel traffic need to be flow through the tunnel, right? For that purpose we need a tunnel interface. So how I have shown here, right? Tunnel dot one. Okay, that will be an tunnel interface between firewall and firewall 2. You need to configure on both sides. Okay, over this Ethernet 1/3. Ethernet 1/3 will be there, as well as we need to form an tunnel interface. Okay, so first you need to enable the tunnel interface, and second thing, we need to we need to configure an IKE crypto. Okay, in both the firewalls. IKE crypto, this is mainly for the, sorry, this is for phase 1 parameters. Okay, yesterday we have discussed about the parameters, right? Phase 1 parameters. And next thing is an, sorry, third thing is you need to configure IPsec crypto, which is for the phase 2 parameters. We have discussed about phase 2 parameters yesterday as well, right? What are the phase 2 parameters and phase 1 parameters that are negotiating between firewall and firewall 2, we need to configure. Okay, and fourth one, we need to do an IKE gateway, which is our phase 1 tunnel. Okay, IKE gateway is our phase 1 tunnel. And after configuring phase 1 tunnel, we need to configure an IPsec. Okay, which is our phase 2 tunnel. Okay, and after that what we need to do is we need to configure an security policies. Okay, why we need security policies here means, whatever the traffic flowing from our inside to this VPN zone, we can create a new zone with the tunnel interface, which is an VPN zone. Okay, while we are configuring tunnel interface, we can also configure one zone, VPN zone. Okay, so we need to we need security policies in order to route the traffic from our inside zone to VPN zone on both ends. Okay, from inside to VPN and VPN to inside, as well as in the firewall also. This is our site to inside network, right? In order to route the traffic, or in order to flow the traffic from our inside zone to VPN zone, we need to create a security policies. And seventh point, we need to create a static route. Okay, static routes. Why we need static route means, in order to route the traffic through the IPsec tunnels, so we need to create a static routes. Okay, actually here I one thing you need to remember is, these Palo Alto firewalls are route based firewalls. Okay, route based fire right, these Palo Alto firewall support route based VPNs, which is depends on the static routes. Okay, static routes or any other dynamic routes also. So you need to create, in this case we are creating a static routes in order to we are letting know the firewall that if you want to if you want to reach this destination, okay, which is our remote site destination. If you want to reach the destination, we are telling that you need to flow through the tunnel. Okay, so for that purpose we are creating a static routes on both the firewalls. Okay, these are the things that we need to configure. Okay, we will going through the one by one. Okay, so let's configure on first firewall once. Just focus on the configuration, how I am configuring. Okay, and one more thing I will show is, here you can I can also mention the subnets. Okay, this is my 20 dot network. Okay, and this is my 10 dot network, 10.10.10.0/24, and here my ethernet 1/2 IP address is 20.20.20.1, and in this case 10.10.10.1. And you can also configure an IP address here as well. Okay, I'm going with 192.168. And 1 dot at suppose 5.0 5.0/24. Okay, because we are connected ethernet 1/3 on both the firewalls directly, right? Both should be in the same network. We will take 1 IP here. We can configure 5.1 in the firewall 1 and 5.2 in the firewall 2. Okay, I will show you how can we configure this. This is our topology. Okay, this is my rough topology diagram for this lab, and these are the sequence of steps that we are going to do. Okay, yeah. See here, first thing we need to do is, and we need to enable tunnel interface, right? If you want to enable tunnel interface, just go ahead on the network tab. We'll have an interface, right? Whatever the interface, that will be available in the interface tab. Here we have an Ethernet, VLAN, loopback, and tunnel interface, right? Just go ahead on tunnel and create. If you have any tunnel interface configured, it will show here, but we don't have any configured tunnel interface, right? So I'm going to add that one. See here, we have a tunnel interface that should be prepared with tunnel, and we need to mention the number. Okay, if you want to mention any of the tunnel number, you can just go with that. And here you can be adding, you can also have this virtual router, and we need to create one separate security zone. Okay, we don't have any, don't involve this in the outside. Okay, we have to create one separate zone for this tunnel so that it will carry the traffic through that zone. Okay, so we haven't configured VPN zone, right? So just click on zones, it will be take you through the VPN zones that where we are configuring. Just give the name VPN, or otherwise if you want to create a zones, here in the network tab itself we'll be having zones, right? You can also create there. Once you create the zone there, it will, once you drop down here, it will show here like this VPN. Okay, just to select that VPN, and here we don't need any IP address or any other things. Okay, just configure an virtual router and security zone. Okay, and give the tunnel interface number. Okay, so now the tunnel one is created, and we are going to use this tunnel one for the our IPsec. Okay, and next thing we need to create is an we need to enable the ethernet 1/3, because we are directly connecting the for direct physical connection of the sites, we need to have one interface that should be connected. So we should be enabling that interface. Okay, this tunnel interface is an logical. Okay, we cannot see that tunnel interface. Okay, but how the tunnel interface will work is, this mainly depends upon our physical interface that are connected between the sites. Okay, so here Ethernet 1/3 are connected on both ends. I am going to enable that Ethernet 1/3. Okay, here Ethernet 1/3. I am logging in this firewall. Okay, this is my second firewall. So what IP address I should take? Means we have discussed about that, right? It will just default and mention this in the outside zone, and IP address 192.168.5.2/24. Okay, this is my second firewall, right? This is the second firewall where I am going to configuring now. So I am going to configure 5.2 on the Ethernet 1/3. That is what I did here. And next thing, nothing else you can configure. Okay, just add virtual router and zone, and add this IP address. Okay, just click on OK. And next thing we need to configure is an IK crypto, which is for phase 1 parameters, right? In the same network tab we will be having here. Okay, IK in the network profiles we'll be having IK crypto. Just click on IK crypto. We'll be having, these are the some default one. Okay, if you want we can add new one. Just give the IKE phase 1 params. Okay, parameters. So here DH group, right? I told you the DH group, right? Whatever, whenever you are configuring DH group, you should go with the larger number so that it will add more security to your IPsec tunnel. And authentication here, this authentication means hashing. We call as an hashing here. So we can go with any of the hashing. Okay, I am going with MD5, and encryption. It go with any of these DS, 3DS, AES. Okay, I am going with DES. Okay, and here the lifetime by default it will be showing as an 8 hours, but you can go with maximum of 365 days as well. Okay, if you want to days also, you can go with the 365 days, and but by default we will going with an 8 hours. Okay, for every 8 hours, if for every 8 hours, what it will do means it will be rekeying again. Okay, but rekeying means it will negotiate the parameters again. Okay, if the parameters after 8 hours, if the parameters are matching, the IPsec tunnel will be continuous. If parameters are not matching, if something has done in between, if someone has changed any of the parameters here, it will while rekeying, it will be shutting down the tunnels. Okay, and these are the phase 1 parameters. Okay, we are using group 20, MD5 and DES. Click on OK. And next thing you need to create is an IPsec crypto, which is for our phase 2 parameters. Okay, in the phase 2 parameters, see here, by default the protocol, which protocol it is showing here, IPsec or otherwise IKE phase 2 parameters. The name should be anything, okay, not only this, you can go with any name that you want, okay. See here in the phase 2 I told you, right, first thing is an protocol, right. Here what protocol it is by default, it select an ESP. Okay, if you don't want ESP, you want to configure AH authentication header, you can also select that. But whenever you are configuring site to site VPN, it is by default it is going with an ESP because it provide an encryption. So if you take the AH, the encryption will not be there. Okay, so in that case, if you want an encryption for your data, you can need to select ESP. And here encryption also you can take whatever you want, okay, but this should be matched with the IPsec phase 2 parameters of the other side. Okay, I'm going with DES and authentication also MD5 and group 20. Okay, here the lifetime by default it is going with 1 hour. We are going with the same thing. Okay, just click on OK. Our phase 2 parameters is done. Next thing what we have to do is we have to configure an IKE phase 1 tunnel, right. IKE gateway is an phase 1 tunnel. If you click on that, we need to create it. We don't have any phase 1 tunnel form or phase 1 tunnel created, so we need to form the tunnel here. Okay, just click on add, give the name IKE phase 1 tunnel. Okay, and here we'll be having versions. We'll be in the IKE, we'll be having IKE v1 and IKE v2. There is not much difference between IKE v1 and v2, but if you select v1, we'll be having main mode and aggressive mode, but in the IKE v2 we don't have such things. But when compared with the v1, v2 will provide more bandwidth to your network, and also it will also providing some scalability to your network. Okay, but by now we are going with v1. And here the address type you need to select. Okay, what address type means whatever the whatever the IP address, whether it is IPv4 or IPv6 between our sites. Okay, between our which interface we have connected here, Ethernet 1/3 and Ethernet 1/3 here, right. What is address type we have configured here, IPv4, right. So in the same way you need to select here. Okay, if you have IPv4, you can select IPv4 here, or otherwise if you have configured IPv6, we can select IPv6, but most probably we are going with IPv4 only. So select IPv4 and interface. What interface that we need to select? We need to select Ethernet 1/3 because we are connecting the sites. Okay, both sides using an interface, right. Here in this case IKE, in the IKE gateway you need to select the physical interface that has connected between our sites. Which interface physically connected here? Ethernet 1/3. So we need to take Ethernet 1/3 here, and local IP address you need to take. Okay, whatever the IP address that you have configured an Ethernet 1/3, it will be populated here. Once you drop down it will be populated here. Just select that. And peer IP address. Which peer IP address means this firewall one. Now I am configuring the on this firewall, right. So peer IP address should be always this IP address, whatever the IP address that we have configured on the Ethernet 1/3. I haven't configured, but I will configure it as an 192.168.5.1. Okay, if you have already configured, you should be fine. If you are not configured also, you can take one IP and you can configure here. Okay, and see here our actual authentication will takes place here, where it will be our authentication I told you, right. One type of authentication is pre-shared key and other one is an certificate. Okay, so if you have any certificate created for this IPsec, you can call this certificate here, and better go with an pre-shared key. Okay, pre-shared key means whatever the things that we want we can configure, same like how we can configure password. So here pre-shared key what I am configuring is, and I am configuring 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and also confirm the pre-shared key 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. I am going with this. Okay, so here local identification and peer identification, if you want we can configure. Okay, local identification means whatever we are configuring IP address here. Okay, If you drop down this, we'll be having FQDN's IP address, key ID, and user FQDN. This is just for identifying the file, identifying the beats. Okay. If you want to go with IP address, you can configure local identification as this address, and peer identification as an peer IP address. Okay. But in this case, I am not using anything here. This is all about in the general tab of IK gateway. And next thing is here you need to go with the advanced options, and here you can enable passive mode and NAT transversal. Okay, yesterday I told you, right, NAT. If there are any device in between our firewall 1 and firewall 2, we have to enable the NAT. Okay, otherwise no need. But here in this case we don't have any intermediate device that supports NAT, right? So we are not going with NAT. But what is the purpose of passive mode? Okay, when we need to enable this passive mode means whenever you are configuring IP address on this, whatever the interface that are connected between the sites. Okay, here in this case Ethernet 1/3 and Ethernet 1/3 is connected between the sites. When we need to enable passive mode means whenever you are configuring IP address on this any of the interface of two sites, any means whatever the interface that are connected between the sites. Okay, let's suppose I have connected this interface, right? Ethernet 1/1/3 here, Ethernet 1/3 here. For suppose we are configuring IP address statically. Okay, for suppose any of the sites have dynamic IP address. Okay, let's suppose the firewall 2 has an IP address on Ethernet 1/3 through an dynamic. Okay, dynamic means whether they are getting IP address from the DHCP server. Okay, so in that case what we can do is, if one side static IP and one side dynamic IP, we need to enable passive mode on the firewall where you have configured static IP. Okay, where we have configured static IP here. Okay, in this case let's suppose take an scenario, I have configured static IP here, and here we are getting a dynamic. Okay, okay, in this case you have to enable the passive mode here on the firewall, because whenever you have configured a static IP, we know what IP address it is. Okay, and but whenever you are configuring dynamic IP, we don't know what type of IP address that we have. So whenever you have configured passive mode here on this firewall 1, what it will do means it will be always acting as an receiver. Okay, yesterday we have told, right, the firewall which is sending the traffic will be acting as an sender or initiator. Okay, the firewall which is sending traffic will be calling as an sender or initiator. Okay, and the firewall which receives the traffic will be called as an receiver or responder. Okay, so here we'll be calling as an in this case we'll be calling as an initiator and responder. The roles are initiator and responder here. So whenever you configured passive mode on firewall where we have configured static IP, that firewall will be always acting as a responder. It won't initiate a traffic. Okay, this has to be initiate the traffic and it will be responding to that. Okay, we will be calling as a responder. Okay, so understood, right? How when we need to enable passive mode. Okay, when we need to enable passive mode means whenever we have dynamic IP configured, or whenever we are getting dynamic IP on any of the sites. Okay, whether whether site 1 or site 2. Okay, so you need to enable passive mode where we are configuring IP address statically. Okay, so in this case we have a firewall 1 where we have configured static IP, and it will be always acting as a responder. Okay, so in this case we are configuring both IP address statically, right? So I am configuring 192.168.5.1 here and 5.2 here statically. So we no need to enable passive mode here. And also NAT also we no need to enable, because we don't have any NAT device in between. If we have NAT device in between firewall and firewall 2, we can enable this. Okay, so here in this next thing is an exchange mode. We discuss about in the phase 1 we have two modes, right? Main mode and aggressive mode. If you want you can use main mode, or otherwise you can go with aggressive mode. But in this case what I am doing is I am going with an auto. and we can let you know which mode the firewalls will select. Okay, I told you right, mainly whenever you are configuring the site to VPNs between site to site, the firewall will be always choose a main mode. So that's why I'm going to auto. We can see whether the firewall choosing main mode or aggressive mode. Okay. And next thing is an IK crypto profile, where we have configured IK crypto, right? We need to call here, which is an IKE phase 1 parameters. Okay. And also deadbeat detection, you can also configure deadbeat detection. And what is deadbeat detection here in the firewall means, let's suppose you have everything is configured on both the firewalls, and you have phase 1 and phase 2 tunnels are formed. Okay, whenever phase 1 phase 2 is tunnels are formed, when you see any of the firewalls went down. Okay, let's suppose this is firewall 1 and this is firewall 2, both are phase 1 and phase 2 are up. Okay, let's suppose the firewall went down. Let's suppose we have formed an IPsec phase 1 and phase 2. Okay, and every traffic is flowing through the tunnels. Okay, let's suppose this is a firewall 1 and this is a firewall 2. Let's take this is the firewall 1 went down and we are not sending any traffic. Okay, what firewall will do means, the firewall will wait for the traffic from the firewall 1, and where it will wait for 5 seconds. Okay, it will wait for 5 seconds, and also it will try it will be waiting for 5 intervals. Okay, 5 intervals means it will first wait for 5 seconds. If not receiving, it will be waiting another 5 minutes. In the second interval also, if it's not waiting, it will be waiting for next intervals. Okay, so we can also configure 5 intervals and retry is 5 times. Okay, 5 intervals means this is are the seconds, and retry means it will retry for the 5 times. Okay, both means 5 into 5 25 seconds. Okay, so here the firewall will wait for 25 seconds, firewall to wait for 25 seconds, and after 25th second the firewall to will think that the firewall 1 is down or dead, and it will be tear down the IPsec tunnels. Okay, so here that will be helpful for the detecting whether other firewalls are down or not, with deadbeat detections. Okay, so just click on OK. Our phase 1 tunnel will be formed, and next thing is an phase 2 tunnel. Okay, if you want to configure phase 2 tunnel, here is our phase 2 tunnel, and just click on add. Here you can just go with the name. Okay, IPsec phase 2 tunnel. Okay, and here interface, here we have to bring the our logical interface. Okay, just a minute guys. And here also the type. Okay, auto key or manual key or global protect satellite. Auto key means we have configured an lifetime, right? After 1 hour it will be auto keying. Okay, and also here we need to call the IKE gateway, and as well as IKE phase 2 parameters. Okay, so IKE gateway means whatever the IKE gateway that we have configured, which is an phase 1 tunnel, and IPsec crypto, which is phase 2 parameters. Okay, and next thing we need to proxy IDs. Okay, I think this is, it won't accept any special characters. Okay, and here the proxy IDs, when we need proxy IDs means whenever there is, okay, here we are forming IPsec tunnel between two Palo Alto firewalls. Okay, we can also form IPsec tunnel between different vendors. One side is Palo Alto, one side is Fortinet, one side is Palo Alto, one side is Cisco, and also one side is Palo Alto, one side is Checkpoint. Okay, so we can form the IPsec tunnels between the two different vendors. In that case, what we need to do is, I told you right, these Palo Alto firewalls are route based VPNs. Okay, we supports route based VPNs, and but the other than Palo Alto firewalls, they support only the policy based. Okay, they support policy based. Okay, in that case what we need to do is we need to create an proxy IDs. Okay, what are the proxy IDs means we need to mention the local site and the remote site. This is our local site, this is our remote site. We need to mention the information there. Okay, we need to mention the sites here. Okay, if you want to add, just click on add, give the proxy ID name. The local should be your local network. This is our local network, which is our 20.20.20.10. We are configuring here, right? So this is our local. If you are configuring here, this is our local. You can mention 10.10.10.0/24. The remote site will be 20.20.20. Okay, if you mention that, it will be added here. Okay, whenever this proxy ID is when we need to use whenever there is an IPsec forming between the two different vendors. Okay, but here we are forming IPsec tunnel between two same vendors, which is Palo Alto. So we need to configure any proxy IDs. Okay, this is our phase one tunnel. Sorry, phase two tunnel. Okay, and next thing is then we need to create policies. Okay, which is two policies where you can create inside to VPN. Okay, sorry, this is a NAT policy. Here you need to create security. Just click on add, give the name inside to VPN, source as an inside, destination as an VPN, and go with the action allow. Okay, and also you need to create one more policy which is for the traffic from VPN to inside, and add source zone as an VPN and destination zone as an inside. Okay, and allow the action. Okay, you can just create this. Okay, and next thing is then you need to create an static route. Okay, just go on the network tab, we'll be having virtual router. Whenever you are forming interfaces as an L3, we have configured a virtual router as an default, right? So whenever you are configuring virtual router, it will be acting as an router. Okay, this will be acting as an router. So in this case we can configure all things. We can configure static routes, you can configure RIP, OSPF, BGP. It will be acting as an router. Okay, so here we need to configure a static route, and in the static route what we need to create, we are configuring a static route here. So we are telling this router, whenever you see the traffic to the destination of this network, which is our 20.20.20.0, you need to flow through this tunnel interface. Okay, not physical interface, we need to send that traffic through the tunnel. Okay, which is our tunnel 1. The same thing we need to configure, just the give the name route to 20.20.20.0, which is our destination. Give the destination as 20.20.20.0/24, and here you need to mention the interface. So here interface is an tunnel interface. You need to go through with the tunnel interface. Whenever you are going through the tunnel interface, the next stop should be none. Okay, because we are forming a tunnel between the sides, right? Whenever you are initiating a tunnel on this side, the tunnel will be end on the other side only. Okay, so in that case no need of going with the next stop. Okay, whenever you are creating a static routes in the Palo Alto firewall, if you see the tunnel interface, you no need to go with the next stop. Or whenever you are configuring the static route on physical interface, then only you can give the next stop. Okay, so in this case you no need to go with the next stop. Okay, because the tunnel we are initiating on one side, it will be end on the other side only. So we no need to go with the next stop. So this is how you can create a static route. Just click on OK. That will be create the static route. Okay, and click on OK. Now everything is done. Okay, on one side everything is done. Created a tunnel interface, VPN zone, phase 1, phase 2 parameters, phase 1 tunnel, phase 2 tunnel, policies and static route. Okay, what we can do is we can commit this configuration on one side. Let's go ahead and configure on other side as well. Okay, just get this commit done, and meanwhile we can configure this on this firewall. Whatever we have configured on the other firewalls, we need to configure same in this firewall as well. So I have already shown right how we can configure. I will configure fast on this firewall. Okay, just keep an eye. If I am doing anything wrong, just let me know. Yeah, see here in the device tab, no sorry, in the network tab we'll be having interfaces, right? First I am going to configure tunnel interface, which is our tunnel 1, and we have an virtual router default and security zone. I'm configuring new zone here as well, which is an VPN and layer 3. Just click on OK. That will form our tunnel interface. Next thing, we need to enable Ethernet 1/3, right? Just go ahead and enable 1/3, and interface type as an L3 here. And if you are going with L3, we need to must and should you need to enable, we need to configure virtual router here. And security zone, this is our outside. Okay, and IPv4 address you need to configure. Okay, what IP address? This is our topology, right? Ethernet 1/3, we can configure 192.168.5.1. Okay, 192.168.5.1/24. And next thing is, that's it, we can configure. And next thing we need to configure is an IKE crypto, which is our IKE crypto. So name IKE phase 1 parameters. Okay, these are the IKE phase 1 parameters. And DH group, what DH group we have configured? DS20, authentication as MD5, encryption as our DES. Okay, we need to configure the same parameters, whatever the parameters that I have configured on the firewall. We need to go with same parameters of phase 1. Just click on OK. This is our phase 1 parameters. And IPsec crypto, which is our IKE phase 2 parameters. Okay, IKE phase 2 parameters. And here also the encryption is DES and authentication is MD5, and the group is group 20. Okay, and the protocol is the ESP on same side. Okay, just click on OK. If any of these parameters is not matching, we are the tunnels will won't come up. Okay, so we are configuring this on the other side as well. We have already configured. Okay, and in this IKE gateway, this is the IKE phase 1 tunnel, and IKE v1 mode, address type IPv4, interface Ethernet 1/3, and IP address 5.1 and peer IP address. Here the you need to select the peer IP address, whether it is an IP or FQDN or dynamic. Okay, so if it is a dynamic, you can mention the dynamic. If you are statically configured, you can select the IP and you can mention the IP address here, which is our peer IP 192.168.5.2. Okay, and here authentication, what pre-shared key we have configured other firewall, it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. The same pre-shared key you need to configure here as well. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, then in the advanced options, these are the things we haven't enabled, so no need to enable here as well. And exchange mode has an auto, and IK crypto profile, which is our phase 1 parameters, and dead period detection interval 5 retry 5. Okay, the same thing as it is. And next thing is an IPsec. Okay, IPsec tunnel. Just click on add, go into the name IPsec phase 2 tunnel. Okay, and here the tunnel interface we have already configured, right? But here it is not showing. Let's see, we have already configured tunnel interface, loopback tunnel. Sorry, we haven't configured tunnel 1 default VPN zone. Just click on OK. Tunnel interface done, right? And IPsec, click on add, go with IKE, or otherwise you can go with IPsec phase 2 tunnel. And interface, whatever the interface that we have configured, it will reflect here. Okay, and the type is auto key, address is IPv4, and IKE gateway, whatever IKE phase 1 tunnel that we have configured, and IPsec crypto we need to call phase 2 parameters. And proxy IDs we are not configuring because we are forming IPsec tunnel between our Palo Alto firewall, between the Palo Alto firewalls. Okay, and next thing is an policies. We need to configure two policies, right? Which is our inside to VPN. Okay, and just go ahead, configure inside VPN action allow, then add VPN to inside. So source zone is an VPN, destination zone is an inside, action is an allow. Okay, these are the two security policies we need to allow. Okay, traffic from inside to VPN zone and VPN to inside zone. And next thing is an static route, where you can configure in virtual router. You need to configure wherever you have included the interfaces in that virtual router, you can configure. Okay, if you want to configure different virtual routers, you can configure, but in this case I am going the default one. And here once you click on the default, it will show. You can go ahead on the static routes, and here we need to configure route to 10.10.10.0 network, right? So I am giving the name to identify which static route is this for. Okay, so the destination is 10.10.10.0/24, and interface is an tunnel interface. The next stop is none. Okay, this how you can create an static route on the IPsec using for the IPsec. Okay, just click on OK. This configuration is done, right? Just commit the configuration. See here, once you commit the configuration on the both sides, you can see if the firewalls will come up or not. Okay, okay, the configuration is completed. Let's see, if you want to check the status of the tunnels, go ahead on the IPsec tunnels. You can see here, this is tunnel info is the phase 1, sorry, phase 2. IK info is for the phase 1. Okay, IK info is always for phase 1, and tunnel info is always for phase 2. If you see here, both the phase 1 and phase 2 are showing in red color. Okay, red color in the sense the tunnels are not up. Okay, why the tunnels will not coming up means, while you are configuring this IPsec configuration initially, you have to send the traffic through the tunnels. Okay, we have created tunnel, right? Phase 1 and phase 2. So if you want to bring up the tunnels between the sites, you need to send some traffic through this tunnel, then only the tunnels will be coming up. Okay, so what we can do is we can initiate a traffic. Okay, we can initiate the traffic from here. Okay, we can try to ping from here to here. We can call it as an interesting traffic. Okay, interesting traffic means whatever the traffic that is set to be flow into the fire, set to be flow into the tunnel. Okay, we have configured static routes, right? We have configured static routes to set that if you want to route the traffic to the 20 dot network, you need to flow through this tunnel. Okay, so that traffic will be calling as an interesting traffic. Okay, whenever there is an interesting traffic flowing through the tunnel, then only the tunnels will come up. Okay, see here in this case we are not see because we this is the first time we are configuring tunnels, and initially the tunnels will won't come up until unless there is an interesting traffic flowing through the tunnel. Okay, so what I will do is I will ping from this firewall to this, sorry, I will ping from this Windows mission to this Windows mission. This is my 20 dot network, right? This is my 20 dot network. This is my 10 dot network. I will ping from this PC to this PC. Before that, we need to check whether we have IP address on these PCs. Let's check that. This is my 20 dot network. Okay, we have an IP address on this, and let me check on the other one. Yeah, I have also IP address. If you don't have IP address, you need to configure an IP address. Okay, you can configure statically on these Windows machines, or you can configure DSCP on Ethernet 1/1 on both the firewalls and get the IP dynamically on the Windows machines. Okay, so I have configured DSCP server on the Ethernet 1/1 on both the firewalls. I got an IP dynamically. Okay, means we have it getting a IP to this Windows machine through the DSCP server, which we have configured on Ethernet 1/1. Okay, so let's try to ping Ethernet from PC1 from this PC to this PC. Okay, which is our 20 dot network to 10 dot network. Okay, see here ping 10 dot 10 dot 10 dot 2. Okay, which is our other side, right? Yeah, 10 dot 2. Let's see if you are able to ping that. We are not getting a, yeah, we got a request. First we have received a request amount, that is common, but next the three packets we are able to reach. Let's see if the tunnels are up or not. So now still we are seeing as red, right? It will show red until you refresh this page. Okay, we have an refresh option here. If you refresh that, see here the tunnels turn into the green, right? So if you see the green instead of red, so in that is the where you can see the tunnels are up. Okay, so if you want to see the information, phase 1 information, if you click on this, it will show here. See here from where we have from where we have initiated the traffic from this Windows mission, right? So if you are initiating from this mission Windows mission, this firewall will be acting as an initiator because it will be initiating a tunnel traffic, right? So this firewall will be acting as an initiator. So that's where you can see the role here. It will be an init. Okay, and it will be which mode it is taking. It is taking an main mode, and we are seeing this all the algorithms. Okay, whatever the algorithm that we have configured here, that will be shown here. And if you want to see the phase 2 information, you can click on the phase 2 information. See here in this case you can see the local IP and the peer IP. Sorry, this is our peer IP. Okay, here I am unable to, oh yeah, the peer IP. This is a local IP, this is a peer IP, and packet encapsulated and packet decapsulation. Okay, here we can see the three packets that went. Okay, and also if you want to see on the other firewall also, you can see it will be the same thing. Okay, try to log in this firewall. Yeah, see here, if you want to see the IPsec tunnel status, it will show here. And you can see this, both the tunnels are up and running, right? You can also see the IK info. The one side it is an initiator and other side is an responder, because we this firewall initiated the tunnel in the tunnel traffic. This firewall will be acting as an responder to this. Okay, so the role should be, you can see the role here. And what mode it select, we haven't configured main mode or aggressive mode, we just configured it as an auto. So by default it is taking an main mode. Okay, and these are the algorithm that we have configured. And the tunnel info, it will be showing in the reverse way. Okay, the local IP here it is 5.2, and the peer IP is 5.1, and packet encapsulation, packet decapsulation, it will be showing here. Okay, this is how you can verify the we can verify the status of the IPsec tunnels from the GUI. Okay, and if you want to check the status from the CLI also, you can, we will be having an commands. We'll be having a command which is show VPN flow, and VPN flow with name. Okay, name means tunnel name. What is the tunnel name that we have configured? IPsec, right? Yeah, IPsec phase 2 tunnel. If you click on enter, it will be showing all the phase 2 information here. Okay, and it will be showing the what is the, what we have, what is the local IP, what is the peer IP, and what is the interface, what is the outer interface, whether the state is active or whether it is an down. Okay, and all the configuration that we have made, it will show here. And apart from that also, this packet received and packet sends are the one thing that you need to focus. Okay, here we are seeing the packet encapsulation packet and decapsulation packets, right? So this thing will be very much helpful when you are troubleshooting the issue. Okay, let's take, there is a scenario where I faced recently. Okay, there is a scenario where we have formed phase 1 and phase 2. Okay, after forming and phase 1 phase 2 tunnels, the traffic is not flowing. Okay, let's take, this is my firewall 1 and firewall 2. I have formed phase 1 and phase 2. Okay, I have found phase 1 and phase 2, both the firewalls, the phase 1 and phase 2 tunnels are up. Okay, but the traffic is not flowing. The both phases are up, but traffic is not flowing. Okay, so in that case what we need to check is, we need to check the command show VPN flow name. In the name, after the name, we need to mention the tunnel name. Okay, phase 2 tunnel name. Okay, in this case I have mentioned the IPsec phase 2 tunnel, right? So in the phase 2 tunnel, what you need to check is encap bytes, decap bytes. Okay, and also encap packets and decap packets. Okay, so what is encapsulation, what is decapsulation means, whenever we receive, let's suppose we have an Windows machine here and we have a Windows machine here, right? We have initiated ping traffic. Okay, we have initiated ping traffic, and this ping traffic reaches the firewall, and it check the routes. Okay, it check the security policies, check the routes, and it form the it has the route that is flowing, that this traffic has to be flow through the IPsec tunnel. Okay, before sending this traffic through the IPsec tunnel, what this firewall will do means, this firewall will encapsulate this packet. Okay, whatever the traffic that is sending or whatever the packet that is sending, this firewall will encapsulate, because it has to be flow through the IPsec tunnel, right? It will encapsulate the packet. Okay, in that case the encapsulation bytes increases. Okay, in that case what you will do, encapsulation byte increase, because we are encrypting the traffic here. Encapsulation bytes and encapsulation byte packets increase here. Okay, once this traffic reaches this firewall, okay, what it will do means, this this firewall will decrypt that. Okay, whatever the traffic receives, it will decrypt this traffic and check the traffic, and it will also check the routes, and it will send the traffic to this Windows machine. Okay, in that case what it will do means, it will be also having the same thing. Okay, encap bytes, decap bytes, encap packets, decap packets. Okay, whenever this firewall decrypting the traffic, okay, this encryption packet receives this firewall too, and this firewall decrypt the packets, right? So in that case the decap packet, decap packets and decap bytes increase. Okay, so this is a request, right? We send a ping request. Now what it will do, this Windows machine will respond that. Okay, we this Windows machine will generate a ping response. Okay, it will reaches the firewall, and the firewall will check the route, and the route has to be flow through the IPsec tunnel, right? So whenever the firewall sending the traffic through the IPsec tunnel, it will be encrypting. Okay, so in that case what it will do, encryption packets and encryption bytes will increase here. Okay, here encryption packets, encryption bytes and encryption packets increases here, and this encrypted traffic will send to the firewall one. The firewall will decrypt this packet. Okay, whenever the encrypted packet receives, it will decrypt. In that case decrypt decapsulation bytes and decapsulation packets will increase. Okay, so and after increasing, after decrypting the traffic, it will check the static route, and it will check the security policies, and it will send the traffic out to this Windows machine. Okay, so in this case whenever our scenario is the traffic is not flowing. Okay, the traffic is not flowing in the sense, we need to check whether encapsulation bytes and decapsulation bytes are increasing or not. Okay, let's suppose take, we are sending a traffic means encapsulation bytes will increase. Okay, here we can check the command. Okay, we can check this firewall. We need to identify whether this firewall is causing the issue or whether this firewall is causing the issue. In order to narrow down the issue, we need to check this show VPN flow command on both the firewalls and check whether these bytes increasing or not. If you see encapsulation bytes is increasing on this firewall and decapsulation bytes are not increasing, we can suspect that this firewall is sending the traffic. Means we are encrypting the packets and sending out, right? Whenever you see the encryption bytes are increasing, we can confirm that this firewall is sending the traffic. Okay, if decryption bytes are not increasing on this firewall one, we are not receiving the traffic. Okay, just a minute guys, I will connect my charger. Yeah guys, can you hear me? Okay, yeah, see here, whenever your traffic is in the situation where traffic is not flowing, we need to identify which firewall causing the issue. So in order to check that, you need to enter this command and check whether encapsulation bytes and decapsulation bytes are increasing. If you see encapsulation bytes are increasing and decapsulation bytes are not increasing, we can confirm that this firewall is sending the traffic and we are not receiving. And you can also check the same thing if encapsulation bytes and decapsulation bytes are increasing. Okay, you can also see encapsulation bytes increasing but decapsulation bytes are not increasing. This firewall is also sending the traffic out. Okay, maybe there are any intermediate device between these firewalls will be blocking the traffic. Okay, so we need if encapsulation bytes are increasing on both the firewalls, there is no issue with the both the firewalls. Maybe there is any intermediate device in the path that is causing the issue. Okay, but if your encapsulation bytes are increasing and decapsulation bytes are not increasing, and here encapsulation bytes are not increasing but decapsulation bytes are increasing, maybe issue with this firewall. Okay, issue with the firewall too, and we need to troubleshoot the issue on the firewall too. Okay, we need to check if traffic is not flowing. The two things we need to check: we need to check the static route. Okay, first one, you need to check the static route. If we have static route to the destination, which is our this, okay, which is this one. And the second thing you need to check an security policy, whether we have a correct security policy to route the traffic between our inside to VPN. Okay, so this is how you can troubleshoot the issue. And we have two more scenarios as well. Okay, the next thing is an phase one is not coming up. Okay, phase one is not coming up. So in this case, what we need to check? We need to check the parameters. Okay, we need to check the parameters, and also we need to check the security policy as well, whether any security policy blocking IPsec or IKE parameters. Okay, so in the same way, you need to. There is one more scenario called phase two is not coming up, not coming up. So in that case also you need to check whether parameters are matching or not, and also you need to check any security policies blocking the traffic. Okay, so these are the three scenarios that we can encounter whenever you are troubleshooting. Okay, whenever you are troubleshooting IPsec. So these are also some troubleshooting steps. Okay, so if you want a detailed troubleshooting step, we have an IPsec NAT transversal PPT in our website. Just go ahead and download that IPsec NAT transversal. I have mentioned step by step what we need to check. Okay, in the firewall. Okay, so these are the things that are okay. You need to verify on the firewall, and you need to configure if you want to bring up the IPsec between our firewalls. Okay, and here one more thing is an there is a daemon. Okay, there is a daemon which handles the IPsec traffic, which is an IKE MGR is a daemon where this IPsec traffic logs will be handled. And if you want to check, there is a command called less mplog ikemgr.log. Okay, you can check the all the detailed logs. Okay, I will show you here. Here less mplog ikemgr.log. If you enter this, you will get all the details of the IPsec. Okay, when we use less mplog, when we use a less mplog means it will get all the historical logs. Okay, historical log means whenever the firewall is up and whenever the firewall is whenever we configure an IPsec on the firewalls, it will get all the logs. But if we if you want to see the real logs, okay, now you are facing the issue, and you have to see the live logs. Okay, in that case what we can do means there is a command called tail follow s mplog ikemgr.log. Okay, this is a one more command which will tells you the live logs. Okay, so that command also I will execute here. See here, tail follow s mplog ikemgr.log. It will show an live logs. Okay, now we don't have live traffic, right? It won't populate whenever you see the issue in the real time. If you want to see the live logs, you can just execute this command tail follow s command, so that it will show the live logs. So now in this case the IKE key installation succeeded, means our IPsec tunnel is working fine without any issues. Okay, these are the two commands that you need to verify, or if you want to check any issues with the IPsec, these two commands will be helpful. And apart from that, this one also is very much useful whenever you are not seeing a traffic on the firewalls when both the firewalls are not up. Okay, this is also one command, and these two commands will help very much whenever you are troubleshooting an IPsec issues. Okay, these are about IPsec configuration and also the troubleshooting steps. Okay, do you have any queries, or do you have any concerns, or do you have any clarifications on this IPsec? You can also check the IKE IPsec logs in the system logs. Okay, in the monitor tab we'll be having system logs. Okay, you can check that whenever you are facing issue. You can also check the system logs. If you whatever the you can see in this less MP log, you can also get from the system logs. So how you can show see means just go with this. I think this will help. See here in the monitor tab we'll be having system, okay, which is called as a system logs. Just click on that. It will show all the system logs where you can find IPsec negotiation. See here IPsec IKE negotiation phase 1 start and IKE negotiation phase 1 succeed, and also IKE negotiation phase 2 start and IKE negotiation phase 2 succeed. Okay, after that it will be installing the keys. If you see phase 2 and phase 1 is succeeded, that where you can identify the phase 1 and phase 2 are up and running. Okay, and if you face any issues, it will be logging here. Okay, IKE negotiation phase 2 failed, and it will show the description. Okay, here we have a description, right? Somewhere it will show maybe any parameters are mismatching, or if any authentication pre-shared keys mismatching, it will show here. So from here you can identify where the issue is. Okay, this is how you can check the IKE logs and also IPsec logs. Okay, any questions or any clarifications on this IPsec? This is most important topic where you can where in every firewall they will be configuring whenever they are sending traffic from one side to another side. Okay, in some scenarios you cannot see where they have only the single side. In that case you cannot see the IPsec, but mostly all the companies will have different branches, right? If you take the TCS, or if you take the Infosys, or if you take the anything, any corporate office, they will be having branches in Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai. Okay, so all they what they are doing is, if they want to send information from Hyderabad branch to Bangalore branch, or Bangalore branch to Chennai branch, they will be forming using the firewalls, and they will be forming an IPsec tunnel in order to send their data securely from this side to that one side to other side. Okay, any questions? Yes, guys. If you have any questions, just let me know. I will clarify your doubts. Yeah, okay. That's if you don't have any doubts, okay, we can wind up this session here, and just go through this video once again. I will share the link in next 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any questions or any queries afterwards, you can just ping me in WhatsApp. or you can bring me in the group as well, so that others also know what the issue or what is the query. Okay, if they have answer, they will reply, or otherwise I will reply. Okay. Okay, guys, thanks for joining, and bye. We can continue the class tomorrow at the same time. Okay, bye, guys.